towards Sakaja, not more for Mushiri. And could you imagine if Mushiri is the governor? I don't know, but I think there's some information I have that Mushiri would be more working with Wamunyoro, isn't it? This could be a very big shame for the president in Nairobi. Secondly, for Raila Odinga, during Raila Odinga AU forays, some information has it that Sakaja was actually paying the bills. I mean, he would be anywhere where Raila is going. I'm sure you know. We travel here. Sakaja was in the plane with Raila Odinga. That's why even before Raila traveled to Addis Ababa for the election, Raila organized a convention for him in Bomas and stated that 2027 he will stand behind Sakaja. That created even some rift in ODM. Now you see Babu Owino was very mad because Babu Owino thought that Raila, as his father, would actually not support Sakaja but support him. So in that arrangement, Raila Odinga has been protecting Sakaja from very many often times. There's a time when Robert Alai used to bash him, isn't it? Robert Alai confessed in the media that he received a call from Baba and told him, leave that guy alone. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot was at stake if Sakaja was even to go through this sword of impeachment. And they also add the fact, we talked about the fact that it will take a lot of effort to save Sakaja at the Senate. So why do you wait? Like, for example, Fred, when the policeman arrests you on the road and tells you you have made a mistake, and instead of accepting to go to the to the police station, where now the process, another level, you've been booked with OB, you might actually sort out this one on the road. Like Jesus says, talk to your enemy before actually reach court. So maybe this was the way to try to divert that attention and ensuring that this is nipped in the bud. And I still repeat that the structure of Nairobi County, look, the first governor was Kidero. He never saw second term. Then Sonko came in. What happened to Sonko? He didn't even finish the second term. Now we're having Sakaja struggling actually to finish this term. In fact, Sakaja can be impeached more easily than any other person because the people controlling this place, what is the implication? The implication of these governors who cannot perform is that now they have to spend the money that should go to development. That's why Nairobi is not working. Okay. I have just seen an article here in Standard, something like 1 year ago, where they said that the sewage system was supposed to work. Sakaja campaigned on let Nairobi work. And you will live in Nairobi. How is it working? The sewer system, isn't it? The amount of money Nairobi receives, the highest allocation among all counties. And guys are not seeing the impact of this money on the ground. And therefore, Nairobians are actually very bitter with Sakaja.
I'm more concerned right now about the kind of influence that the president, and even confidence that the president and Raila Odinga have in the houses of parliament, the national houses. That's the National Assembly and the Senate. Intervening at the assembly level. What effect would it have on devolution?
Fred, your question is a very fundamental question. And the only way to see it without, by detaching our emotions, is to imagine another state with the same system. Imagine President Trump meeting with the senators of New York to tell them not to do anything with the governor of New York. Can you imagine that happening? Can you imagine that, for example, these people call themselves, Raila says, he's the father of devolution. How do you give birth to a child only to kill that child before even they grow up? Why don't you allow a child to grow up? Nairobi, as you said, is a metropolitan county, right? And I can tell you, Fred, the drafters of the Constitution did not foresee so many scenarios. I've been telling people that the lawyers have been over-elevated in running governance of this country. For example, they'll tell you, before you become an LBC, you must be an advocate of High Court. And when they're coming up with the commissions to draft the Constitution, they over-highlighted the legal aspect. They never looked at the economic and managerial governance aspects were not there. Tell me which governance expert was in those commissions looking at how things work. I've been saying that if there was an economist who was in this room like me, we could have modeled how much it would cost to implement this constitution, and we could have known that it was not going to be possible. It's like Fred signing a contract where you need to be paying 1 billion per month and you're not aware, and you sign it. They signed this blindly. We should model the governance structure, how we shall ensure there is no overlap, there is oversight, and there is compliance. And if you ask me, the president and the Raila Odinga have a lot of work to do. The president in this country, Fred, if you ask me as a governance expert, should only issue executive orders and allow other people to do their work. A president who is constructing a market, a president who is in CDF, a president who is in a county assembly, it is not just the constitution also, but also personal leadership as decorum. President William Ruto has also told us how not to be president. I'm sure if anybody will go to State House in 2027, they will not use these notes. They will just use another playbook. And because we are not here to only talk about problems, what should be the way forward? The way forward is, what is the independence of MCAs in doing their work? Forget about even blaming those people. If you are an MCA, then you write on papers, we are coerced. Was there someone who was on a gun on your head telling you not to do X, Y, Z? Can you imagine, Mheshimiwa, at lunchtime, I'm seeing clip moving around, them saying that we will impeach Gachagua. I saw you saw that clip just around lunchtime. There was them singing in City Hall, all of them, MCS, they are going to impeach Gachagua. I think you saw the clip, isn't it? Yeah. Then what changed between then, before around 4 there, then again he has been saved. What happened? In fact, Fred, there's a lot that we need to be told. What can make people change that decision? So as a governance expert, I would want to say the following. First of all, Nairobi County is a poisoned chalice. Nairobi County should not be a county. And I can tell you, if you go to New York, they brought out there's a state called Maryland and Virginia. They donated land to construct Washington, D.C., which is the capital of the U.S., and Washington, D.C. is not a state. So there's the what you call the presidency with the El Capital and all that thing is sitting on a neutral land, because they said that we cannot have the president being in a county where there's a governor. So if you look now, Trump area, that area is completely neutral, because other counties like Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Kisumu, whatever, they also want to come to the El Capital. And I think the drafter of the constitution never saw, even if they copy-pasted the US, they copy-pasted very poorly. Okay. They are not good in copy-pasting.
And actually 2 things are now coming out clearly. Number 1, the rush was actually to curb the negative impact that was very, very much coming glaringly from the Wamunyoro's camp. Because you talk of the deputy of Sakaja, all right, Mushiri. If you go back in history or just the current development of politics, you realize that Wamunyoro team, actually the entire opposition, in fact, you also bring in the other smaller factors like Babu Owino, they were really into it to the extent that Sakaja was to be ousted and definitely Mushiri was to take over. And so you can just imagine the kind of play that we would actually see coming out the moment Sakaja is taken home. A different twist, and it will be a different story. Then the other thing that you can actually clearly see, which of course Ogola was trying to explain, is the aspect